Welcome to Acting Tips for American Actors. This is a story about me, which is intended to be the best acting lesson you will ever have in your life. And it only takes a couple of minutes up, and yet, for some actors, it will be what eventually saves your career. And it all happened to me when I was about, how old was I? About 18 or 19, incredibly naive, didn't know anything about acting, but I looked terrific, and I had an acting job in a theatre company. And we were doing a play, and we'd only had a few days of rehearsal, and we'd already opened. And after the show one night, an actor stopped me as I was about to go out the stage door and said, John, come over here. And I went over, and he said, I forgot my lines tonight. And I said, oh, that's all right, don't worry. And he said, it was your fault. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, have I told you this story? Good, okay. You, the viewer here, will realise that I'm telling the story to someone beside the camera, but I'm also telling the story to you. You, the person that I speak to in all these films, the person I want to become a better actor, you. This actor said, it's your fault I forgot my lines. And I said, oh, I'm very sorry. And he said, it's your fault. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. He said, let's run the scene again, because the reason is that you weren't listening to me. And I said, oh, okay. And we ran the scene again. And he said, you're not listening to me. And I sort of knew what he meant. And I said, okay, right, let's do it again. And we did it again. And he said, you're not listening to me. He said, come back and have a coffee. And we went back to his place, and his wife was staying with him, and she made me an apple pie and ice cream, homemade apple pie. And I was feeling very good and very relaxed, and we were in a very good mood. And I knew he wasn't getting at me. He was trying to help me, this actor. And he said, and this is really important, this story, this is about listening. He said, let's do the scene again. And something about the situation, of the kindness, of the love that I was being exposed to for the first time in my life, for the fact that suddenly I was in a theatre company where people were friendly. Something about the situation made me feel different about the scene, and I stopped worrying, and we did it again. And he said, John. And I said, yes. And he said, you're not listening to me. And I said, yes, I am. And he said, no, you're not. And I said, yes, I am. And he said, no, you're not. You call that listening. That isn't what listening is. Listening is something else. And I said, what's listening? And he said, that moment then, when you said, what's listening? When you responded to me. When I said you're not listening, and you responded to me. You took in what I said. You took me in. You weren't afraid of me. You weren't trying to feel bad about yourself because you were doing something wrong. You took me in. And that kind of embracing of the other person it isn't a thing that you then think, oh, right, got it now, I'll do that tomorrow night and my career will be sorted out. It took me some period of years after that evening to really learn what he'd meant. But it was in the back of my mind all the time that listening was something vaguely important that I had to sort out. And over the years, I gradually did sort it out. And I realised with it that if I was going to go on stage, open to the other person that much, completely open to what they might be doing, then my lines would have to be incredibly solidly learnt, because I wouldn't be thinking at all about me. I would still have me there. I wouldn't just be the servant of the other actor, just completely hypnotised by the other person. I would be listening to them as me. But the lines would be just in my DNA. They would be learnt so well. So I'm encouraging you there to realise that you can learn lines that well and to learn lines that well. But I'm really saying that if you've understood, if I've told the story well enough, what I mean by this listening thing, then you may be inspired gradually over a period of time, or maybe tonight, to apply it. When we're listening to someone, we're interesting. When we care, we're interesting. The degree to which I care about you listening to me on this video, whether you admire me or not, all that stuff, that can't be of any value, that can't be important. The degree to which I might actually want you, for some reason, to be as good an actor as you possibly can be. The fact that I'm taking you in, that I'm somehow almost listening to you, makes you listen to me, makes you watch me, because I become interesting. I become less of the serious old person who you hear on most of these films. So there we are. I've made the point 6 times, and good luck with it.
It's a good story, eh?